good morning. This is the age of personalization. We are in very, very interesting times. Think about this. We are living in a world in higher education where we're trying to boldly take students to a place that we've never had to go before. We're teaching young people to solve problems that haven't been identified, to utilize technology that is yet to be created, solving problems that haven't even been imagined yet. This is the world of higher education. The world is changing so rapidly that we're trying to figure out what next. And if we go back throughout history of this country, there are great companies that got started in the worst of times. In 1901, 99% of the wealth was basically among 3 or 4 people. The average American was making $1 a day, $1 a day. Henry Ford came along and said, you know what? I want to build a car that my employees can afford to buy. And he democratized driving. He started paying people $5. They could then afford those cars. And it began the great American century. And then when we think about the new economy companies, Tesla, if I had told you 15 years ago, you need to invest in this stock called Tesla. There's going to be a guy in about 12 years, he's going to take 400,000 orders with no supply chain, no dealer network, and he's going to end up producing and selling more electric cars than any automaker in the world. You would have laughed at me. So out of the Great Recession, there was birth of new economy companies. So when we think about all of this, let's put it in the context of time. We are in a time of change unlike anything we've ever seen before. And if we think about electricity, when electricity was first found, 46 years before it was truly adopted by American society. And then came along the telephone. It took 35 years for us to adopt the telephone. The pace of change is so rapid. It only took 13 years for the smartphone to be in mainstream society. I have more access on my smartphone than the President of the United States had, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, than they had with the entire apparatus of the entire United States government. I have access to more data on that phone than they did as presidents of the United States. So when we think about all of this, what does this really mean in terms of the context and the pace of change? So if you look at 1990 and you look at the revenue of the big three, 250 billion, 1.2 million employees, $26 billion market cap. You fast forward to 2020 and you look at Google, Facebook, and Apple. They're making more money with fewer employees, and their market cap is exponentially larger. That's the world of work that we're preparing our young people for. So what does all of this mean for higher education? We have to think about how we teach and the way that we teach it. Replacing lectures with active learning. Teaching skills that remain relevant in a changing world. And we have to use formative assessment instead of high-stake exams. We have to enable students to show us what they know and what they've learned instead of just an exam of rote memorization. Because in a standardized economy where you have jobs where everything is standardization, you have to memorize everything. So, what's my basic message? Adapt or die. How many people have been to Blockbuster lately? Okay, could somebody pull out, where's my ding? Could you pull out your Polaroid camera, please? We don't need them anymore. Well, the same is true for higher education. We have to adapt or die. As a president, if I'm still doing my job and leading the same way I was literally 3 years ago, I am obsolete. Leaders within higher education, deans, department chairs, vice presidents, must be willing to let go. You have to acknowledge that you don't know everything. Think about that. How do you teach unlearning? We live in a time unlike anything the world has ever seen. And I am excited about the possibilities. And just like Henry Ford, who came along and helped create the great American century, as I work with young people on my college and on my campus, I'm excited because I look in their eyes, I know that they're going to go to Mars. They're going to find the cure to cancer. They're going to bring about world peace, solve poverty. This is the world that we live in.